Hello and welcome to another episode of Face to Face. And I must say I'm pretty excited about this one because today I'm talking about something I absolutely love and I'm passionate about. Football. Who am I having a conversation with? A young businessman who discovered he had a passion for football and got invested. In fact, he put all of himself into it and has risen to become one of the most influential people in football, not just in Africa, but not just in Ghana, but in Africa. His name, George Kwesi Afriyie, former vice president of the Ghana Football Association. Mr. Afriyie, welcome to Face to Face.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
You've gone low-key. You've even changed your looks a bit. What happened with the beard?
Well, it's important. Sometimes you need to try and then change your situation to suit the present situation. The present situation in this circumstance is that I'm sure I wouldn't say few months, some months ago, we were deeply involved in the administration of football in Ghana. And now there's a bit of a new administration in place. We are not in front line again. We are doing our own thing. So it's important that...
But you're still in football?
Oh, yeah, of course. This is a game that we love so much. It's so dear to our hearts. There's no way we can quit football.
But it's interesting. Everybody knows you as the man who was vice president of the Ghana Football Association. But before then, what were you doing?
You mean before?
Yeah, before you got into all those things.
Thank you, Godfred. I think that some of you may have followed us over the years, right from the early days when I returned from Japan. I got myself involved in the administration of football. I went straight to the grassroots.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be associated with one of the traditional clubs in this country. My reason then was that I believed that we need to strengthen and improve the existing structures. I don't really believe in having a one-man show. Owning a team, starting all over again. There were existing ones with the fan base, with structures. It just needed some reformation at that time. And so I got myself involved with All Blacks. And I'm sure the records were out there for everybody to see.
You did well. You feel you did well at All Blacks?
Oh, yeah, of course. This was a team that has sunk so low to the lower divisions, Division 2. If you look at where the likes of Joe Ringos brought the team, I'm talking of Nana Ahin, who brought the team to Premier, got partnered with Mr. George Georgido, and they were able to make huge impact in the Ghanaian Premier League landscape. And so for that team to go all that low to the lower divisions was something I thought then that, well, somebody need to revive and bring back the smile to the faces of the people in and around Swedro and its environs.
You look like your football history reads like a nomad. So you did Swedro, you've done Accra Great Olympics as well.
Yeah.
What was that transition for?
Okay. At Swedro, it wasn't about really I wanted to quit. There's nothing like at that time I wanted to quit All Blacks. There were a lot of problems. Problems that are associated with traditional clubs in this country, which you are already familiar with. I'm talking of the likes of 11 Wise, Venovos, Vipers. Busiandoas is stable because of Nana Sambliu Butler. But the rest, Cornerstones and all that, have had its own challenges, Fankoba and Co. So at that time, I wanted to change the face and also to make it work. But it got to a point where this whole Yajiaze kind of thing, this team is a traditional team. We think that it belongs to us. We must own it. We must take control. It got to a point where I couldn't stand the pressures and the things. No, it wasn't like I couldn't stand the pressures, but it was more of litigation. Okay. And things that comes with litigation, I always want to get myself out of it. And so the call came from, and let me state here, and then Accra Great Olympics is a team that I grew up supporting, to be very honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Olympics, in actual fact, I come from the Olympics family, from the days of my great-grandfather, who was then one of the founding members of Accra Great Olympics. And so when the call came that, well, we know you know your lineage as someone who belongs to the Olympic family, why don't you take over? At that time, I had just left All Blacks. And I was with the late Alhaji Slaitete, Mr. Felix Anson. I was helping in running of Liberty Professionals. And so, in fact, the request came to Sly that, Alhaji, can you give us George to come and manage Olympics for us? So a meeting was even set. Myself, Mr. Fred Papo, Mr. David Maoli Fuga, and Mr. Duku, Perry Duku. Those were the directors then. So we met in Alisa Hotel, and the request was, George, we think that considering what you've been able to do from All Blacks, brought the team all the way to the Premiership and all that, branded the team to the status of any modern football club. Nice timbers, a gymnasium, nice field, nice training pitch, and all that. I've even acquired a land for an academy to be attached to the team then. So they felt that, no, this is a guy who can do it. So they approached me. And I said, why not? I'm more than willing. I'm into football. I'm ready to support and all that. So I took over. Unfortunately, in just one season, the team went back. When it has just returned to the Premier Division, it went back. When it went back, the board chairman then wrote to me and said that, well, they wanted someone else to handle the team. And so I bowed. I mean, should I say graciously or...
So that was the end of your time with the graduate Olympics?
That was... and from then, I concentrated most with Liberty Professionals. Even though I bought a team on my own in the Boafo region, and I mandated some people to run the team on my behalf.
So you've done Central Region football.
Yes.
You've done Greater Accra football.
Yes.
You've done Boafo football.
Yes.
Have we left out any other region?
Now I'm doing Eastern Region football too.
Okay. Your team is Ochiman Planners.
Ochiman Planners, yeah.
Okay. But at what point did you decide then that maybe my skills are not to be reserved for just running football clubs, but perhaps I could also make an impact at the GFA level? How did you get involved with the GFA?
Okay. What happened was, when I got to All Blacks, automatically you then belongs to the, and it was Division 2. At this level, I'm referring to the 2002. It was purely a Division 2 club. And so it means that my constituency then is the Central Region Division 2, or the Central Region RFA, the Regional Football Association. But because of my exploit, because of what I was doing with All Blacks, the leadership then, headed by the late MNS Do, they invited me to their meetings, the usual congress and the stakeholders meeting. They saw my contribution. So, in fact, the first election of the old GACA, the format, where Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi was elected as the vice president, vice chairman of GACA, then to Mr. George Afriyie. I was one of the 3 nominated from Central Region to represent the Central Region. So myself, Mr. MNS Do, and Alhaji Shaka Ofo, the 3 of us were selected to represent the region in the National Congress to vote for Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi at that level. Okay. So right from the Division 2, they recognized that, yes, this is a young man who has come into the mainstream administration, and we think that he has something to offer. So that was how I walked into the Congress of GFA, right from the Central Region.
What was the GFA like when you entered at the time?
I came in when Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo was then the president of the FA. My time, that was when I remember. And Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi had just been also elected as vice chairman from GACA, and automatically becomes the vice president of the FA. I came at a point where there were a bit of turbulence at the FA. That was, I'm sure you remember, the very disagreement between GACA and Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo, which led to his resignation for the new transformation and the new introduction of new status for the FA. And so it was during those periods that I was deeply involved with the FA.
And when you got involved at that time, as you say, deeply, what was the vision? What was the dream that you had for the Ghana Football Association?
Well, I just wanted to contribute to my quota. I saw that so many things were not right. I mean, in the 20th century, things were not being done properly as far as football administration in this country is concerned. And so when the call came that we needed to move from the old structure, i.e. government nominating two persons to be voted upon, I thought that, yes, we are on the right reformation period. I thought that we were doing something right. We were introducing pure democracy into football. It gives each one an opportunity to also contribute his quota for the development of football at that level. And so, personally, I think that I had come in to also offer my quota. I've come in, fresh young boy coming from Japan, having seen football develop in other Western parts and Asia, and still, we pride ourselves as a football nation, part of Africa. I'm not even referring to the whole of, but part of Africa. We, Ghana, see ourselves as a football nation. We should be counted among the world as one of the best in the world, even though then we had not even gotten to the World Cup. But we still believe that having won the AFCON 4 different occasions is enough justification to be priding ourselves and be boasting that, we are 4 times African champions. But some of us believe that, no, we have to move a bit further. We need to expand. We need to improve in infrastructure. We need to improve in administration of football. We need to introduce more effective way of running football in this country than what we were doing in the past. I'll give you a typical example.
Okay.
At that period, I'm talking of the 2000s coming, you could walk to a stadium, and I'll use Robert Mensah for specific because I was involved in Central Region football. And when it's time for substitution, there are 10 pieces of boards with 1, 2, 3 written on them. And the lines or the now assistant referee will pick, let's say number 10, pick 1 and pick 0 and say number 10, come out. And I'm referring to the 2000s, 2004, 2003, 2005. I'm not referring to 1990s or 1980s. And someone coming from Japan, I just look at the cost of a small substitution board and ask myself, how much does it cost? And I'm referring to a Robert Mensah Stadium fully packed to capacity, Dwarfs versus 11 Wise. Dwarfs versus, 11 Wise. 11 Wise has also gone down. And the Vipers has also gone down. So I just ask myself, it doesn't make a sense. It doesn't make sense to me that the gate process from this match, maybe 5% or less, could buy a substitution for the center. So obviously something is not right. Obviously something is. Let me even tell you what I did one of those days. I traveled to Korea. On my way back to Ghana, I bought 12 substitution boards. 12 of them. Gave 8 to the FA. Gave them an invoice for $420 each. It gave 2 to Ashgold for free because there was a private own. Gave Liberty 2 for free as a private own. But those centers that are for government, then I gave them invoice. It took them about 7-8 months to pay, but at least I felt that something needed to be done right at the point. If you ask me to, a lot, because I couldn't imagine in the 20th century, clubs in Ghana were still using 5 seasons, same uniform. They keep them. The following year you come, it's the same. Players could not even exchange jerseys on the field. And these things were very strange to me. They were very, 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 very strange.
Was there money in the game at that time?
Yes. Because you see, most of these clubs then were depending on gate process. Those days, the transfer market was not as big as now. But you could still make money from the gates. And trust me, it doesn't cost a thing. Most of this equipment that we are talking of, it sounds big if you don't know. But it doesn't. You can even negotiate very well. Teams like Kotoko, and today, we are witnessing it. Things that are being done today, for example, for Kotoko, could have been done 10 years ago, 15 years ago. A typical example, Kotoko has just strike a day with strike. Are you saying that they couldn't have done that 10 years ago, 15 years ago? I'm aware. My own friend Kofi Poku brought in El Sporto, if you remember. It means that if with a proper structure and a proper administrative setup, a team could just engage one of these. Not you You don't even talk of the big names. Don't talk the Adidas, the Nikes, and the Pumas. Talk of the unknown ones. You understand what I'm saying? Talk of the unknown ones, and you could still brand and kit your club nicely. So trust me, apart from the regulatory aspect of it, the administrative part of it, there were lots that personally I thought was wrong with the running of football.
And you grew within the GFA. You, at a point, were head of the National Juvenile Committee, which for a lot of people who like football would say is perhaps the second most important job after the GFA presidency itself, considering you manage the grassroots football. How did that go for you?
Godfred, the truth is that I walk into an organization full of people who were very knowledgeable in the game of football. I was so fortunate. I walked into football where I saw so many people within football circles who were very knowledgeable and could learn from them. At least I could also add a bit of what I have also seen outside and be able to blend it and then make the game. Let me give you a typical example. When I was first elected as an executive committee member in December 2005, we had the likes of a former GFA chairman, Mr. Wenyamiche. We had the likes of Mr. Fred Papo, then the vice president. We had the likes of Mr. Fred Krenzel, my own good friend, Mr. Randy Abe. We had those who were even not inside the FMA or outside, like Mr. Felix Anson, the late Alaji Slaitete, the late Alaji Bimbo. These fine gentlemen had in-depth knowledge about football. And so some of us decided that no, why don't we bid our time, mark our time, go through the ranks, learn, and then in future, when the opportunity comes, we'll be able to serve. Trust me, I was even surprised that when the first election, after the reformation of football and the structure has been changed to suit the present, which we are now going to see another transformation again, another reformation again. When I decided to contest for one of the executive committee positions, I was even surprised that I won. Because then my intention was not just to move straight into big-time executive committee member. I wanted to contribute my quota. I wanted to learn on the job, and I wanted to try and build myself for maybe, in case in future there are other opportunities which may come by. But then, surprisingly, I came up top among the 48 Division 1 clubs. I had 40 votes. Then I realized, well, maybe people have some confidence in you, so you don't have to let them down. At that period, I had to serve. And trust me, when Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi won the position as FA president, let me tell you the committee I served on. I served on the Division 1 League Board under lawyer... Before Ntofianku was lawyer... Jabin, thank you. Lawyer Jabin was then the chairman. Then later, lawyer Kwame Ntofianku became the chairman. I served under these two fine gentlemen. That was the only committee I served on. I was later put on the Under 23, which Randy Abe was then the chairman of the National Under 23 Management Committee. From there, I was attached to the local Black Stars. Then we call it the local Black Stars. I became vice chairman to Mr. Adam Munkaila. The two of us managed that disastrous performance in Sudan, where we lost all 3 matches. From there, I was appointed chairman of the NJC and then chairman of the National Under 20 at the time. So I walked into football, learned from these fine gentlemen that I have mentioned, and gradually I have learned so much. And then today I can boast of an enough experience having gained from all these fine people around.
All right, then I'm speaking to Mr. George Kwesi Afriyie. He's told us a bit about how he got to the pinnacle of Ghana football. But when we return from our break, I will ask him about life under Kwesi Nyantakyi as GFA Vice President. Keep watching Face to Face.
Every weekday at 8 p.m., City Newsroom brings you analysis of the major news stories of the day. In-depth, comprehensive, and researched. It's 1 hour of local and international news from 8 to 9 p.m. It's the City Newsroom. Weekdays on City TV.
Go.
Spend 30 minutes every weekday catching up with all the trending social media conversations of the day. If you tweet it, we'll read it. We might just even Skype you. 30 minutes is all it takes, so use the hashtag 30minutes on social media to catch our attention. Join the most interactive social media TV show weekdays at 5 p.m. only on City TV.
Go.
This is The Point of View. We're live on City TV. We come your way every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m.
Tune in to The Point of View, Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. as Bernard Avlet takes the news further. He will bring the right guest, ask them the relevant questions, and get you the real insights you need on the big stories for the day.
Who maintain it as a financial center, but if the Brexit that happens, there's some major banks who may want to create, as it were, regional HQs outside the UK, which will weaken Britain. Remember, there has been a prediction that their GDP will fall by about 2.5%. So,
The Point of View with Bernard Avlet, Monday and Wednesday nights, only on City TV.
Welcome back to Face to Face, and today we are speaking to Mr. George Kwesi Afriyie. Now, Mr. Afriyie, you've told us a nice story about how you came up in Ghana football. But it had gotten to a point where Ghana was among the best countries in the world. Money was coming in. And so did the controversy. And so did Kwesi Nyantakyi. He was your friend, was he not? Or he's still your friend?
Well, I would say he was my boss. You see, I don't know how...
You want to distinguish between the two?
Yes, of course. You see, friend is someone you constantly visit, share ideas, has some level of... Both families have some level of ties in terms of even... friend is so deep. When I say friend, it's so deep. But for me, he was my boss, and I enjoy a very good working relationship. That's how I want to put it. Because the one I call my friend, the minimum time I visit his house in a year is not less than 10 times. The one I call a friend. But for Mr. Nyantakyi, throughout my association with him, right from 2003, 2004, when I had known him, till the last days, maybe I've been to his house for 4 times. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
In 13 years?
Yes.
4 times?
Yes.
But he was somebody you defended so stoutly.
Yeah.
People started calling you chief of staff.
Yeah.
Of Kwesi Nyantakyi.
Godfred, the truth is that I would die for anything that I believe in.
And you believed in Kwesi Nyantakyi?
At the time when Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi came to power, at the time I saw his vision, at the time I saw his zeal, the vim, everything, I was ready to do anything.
It was the vision
no doubt about it.
It wasn't the personality, it was the vision.
Yes, of course, the vision. As for personality, I don't think that would even lead me to die for anybody. But the truth is that, yes, he was a good listener. He was a good team player.
At that time?
Oh, yes.
When did things change?
Well, it's normal with some leaders. Let me be very careful and choose my words carefully. It's normal with some leaders. You see, it gets to a time when you get too corrupted by power. It's true. Because the last days of Mr. Nyantakyi, I feel so sorry, and I really don't want to talk about it. It is because you could see it coming, but nobody is ready to listen. You could see it coming, but nobody is ready to listen. Godfred, in 2014, almost the whole country took the GFA to the slaughterhouse.
After Brazil.
After Brazil. That was just a signal.
But you were heavily involved in that.
That is exactly, I'm not taking myself out of the situation. No, I'm not here to say no. I'm not part, no. It is the reason why I'm just telling you. I'm saying that it is normal with some leaders that when you get, they say, that is why some of these old proverbs and things that is associated with our culture, sometimes it's good we listen to them. That, you need to bow out when the applause is high. Sometimes when they tell us, hey, it's because maybe the person doesn't like me.
But had you been telling him?
Because the person envies me. Oh, Godfred, I don't want to say things about a man who will not be here to defend himself.
Yes.
It's not proper. It's not nice. But the truth is that circumstances leading to my removal as the GFA vice president is clear and it's out there for everybody to see. It's so clear. These are so fresh in the minds of a lot of people in this country. When I publicly declared that following the public declaration from my boss, of which I did not even add our private conversations. A lot of people have forgotten that I was with Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi when he was voted for the first FIFA Executive Council member. And I will tell you a story today. Prior to the first election, there were 5 candidates vying for the same position, FIFA Executive Council members. They were the Senegalese FA president, Senghor, Augustin Senghor, the man from Guinea, Kabele, Mr. Kabele, the man from Niger, Djibril Cissé, Abdoulaye Djibril, the Zico, we call him Zico, the Niger FA president, current CAF president, Ahmad, and then Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi. These were the 5 gentlemen vying for that position. And we had taken a position as GFA in Ghana, communicated to me by my president that, George, go vote A, Mr. A. Go out there, and when it's about time to vote, vote A. But then, something dramatically happened on the day. The Ghana contingent were late to the Congress. Major decisions needed to be taken which needed Ghana's vote. And Ghana was absent. So most of the delegates were very angry. And we almost lost. I'll tell you something. When I had to vote, here I am sitting down here. The president was sitting up there as a CAF ESCO member. There's no way I can communicate with him to know, based on the current circumstances, what do we do? I sent him a text, no reply, because he was so tensed. I only asked my God, what should I do? In fact, I had other members of the GFA delegation, myself, Mr. Ezekado, and I think Danabi Nyeisi. They were with me. So we were all confused. What do we do? Based on the circumstances surrounding the vote at that time. But because of my experiences with CAF elections and the number of times I've gone to CAF congresses and FIFA congresses, I had to use my head. You know, the final, I won't give you the background, but you know the final determination of the results.
Tell us.
Somebody had 9. Augustin Senghor had, I think, 9. The decision, Mr. Nyantakyi had 31. Kabele, who was then the vice president to Hayatu, had 37. Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi had 31. And Ahmad had 30. So it was for 2 slots. So Kabele and Mr. Nyantakyi had the nod. So when I speak of elections and the happenings in CAF, it's because some of us had a deep knowledge and a deep politics in CAF and FIFA.
But it is also this knowledge, and you talk about this particular situation, and those who criticize you say, if you also felt so strongly that things were not going so well at that point, why were you still there? Why were you still so loyal?
You see,
why couldn't you speak up? You're your own man.
The truth is that there are different ways to change situations. If you belong to a group, I'll use a political party, for example. If you belong to a group, you might be even the lone voice. If you resign, it still doesn't change the situation. You can continue to stay in out there and make a strong point to help change the situation.
Is that what you are doing?
Yes. I can give you countless of examples. Unfortunately, when I was an ESCO member, I swear an oath of secrecy. So there were things that I cannot come up to say. But I'll give you a typical example. Me, I defended the GFA against Glo. If you remember, I defended the FA strongly on the Glo saga. I was one of the strong voices on Glo saga. But in the last days of our administration, there were so many sponsorships that I was against.
But what had changed? Did you realize that the deals were not good for the clubs?
Of course.
Or it was just that
you see,
you were angry?
You don't know. I'll give you a typical example. Godfred. A friend contacted me, a very close friend of mine, and said, George, the clubs are crying, they need money, and that he's a close friend to a friend to Nam1. And so he wants to introduce me to see if we can get Zylofon or Men's Gold to sponsor. I said, oh, Charlie, I'll be more than happy. So we booked an appointment to meet at Men's Vic Hotel. He had arranged that the owner or the CEO was coming to the opposite of Men's Vic, which is directly opposite.
That's the head office of Zylofon.
Okay.
Media.
So we sat there. Then I said, Charlie, upon a second thought, what is the core business of this company? I'm asking this because if you have traced the history of our situation with sponsorship, I don't want a situation where people will be saying, George led this. So I will plead that can we do some bit of small background check? No, I said small background check of the activities. You know what my friend told me? Background check. I said, no, I understand. We need the money. The clubs are crying. Yes, I agree. But you see, in future, should anything happen, people are going to say, George brought that company. So please, that was the last time I heard from my friend.
But the deal did happen. Are you saying it happened behind your back?
You just said the deal did happen, right? Yeah. But you see, Godfred, the truth is that if you had followed the history of the Premier League under our administration, the first sponsor was Glo. The last time I checked, we were even in arbitration. Next was under our administration, because I don't want to go from one touch then, Vodafone now, one touch then. But let me stick to Glo. Glo, then we had First Capital Plus. In fact, First Capital Plus, the last time I checked, we are in arbitration. So if you want to bring a third company, you think that it is not important to do a bit of background check? You think that it is not important to make sure that at least if you sign 3 years, you'll be able to go the full haul? So these were the things. But as usual, you always get the praise singers. Oh, don't mind him. Oh, these people, enemies of progress. Because too ambitious. Because now he wants to be FA president. Don't criticize. But as a leader, where you've come from, people who have followed you, people who have moved you to that level, those are the people we need to listen to. Those who come along the way. Because at least, I was one of the campaign coordinators for Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi from 2005. Zone 2 and part of Accra was under my care.
Were you disappointed by how the relationship had turned out?
No, I'm not disappointed at how the relationship had turned out. But I'm disappointed at how this fine gentleman was reduced from where we've got into to that level. That is where I'm sad.
When Anas started teasing that he was coming out with his number 12, what did you make of it?
Godfred, I'm telling you today, I came to this place with a certain gentleman. I had gotten wind of a certain video and a certain recordings. Initially, when I heard it, I said, yes, this 419, now they have different types of modus operandi. They've moved from Ghana and taken my man to outside somewhere to go and record him. In fact, that's how So I tried to speak to people. He listened. Because for me, the relationship had gone a bit sour. Okay. So I tried to use people who, I said, tell President that you need to be careful. These people these days, they have so many ways of trying to, dupe people, be very careful, That was what I know.
Were you surprised by the skill, considering how deeply involved you were in the game? This was a game you had spent the better part of 15 years of your life working on. You're spending your money. And for you to watch those videos,
I wasn't too surprised, to be very honest with you. Because as an FE, we were a bit worried of the scale of corruption and that we hear every day. But then the point, we did a lot. Godfred, we did a lot. Trust me. In fact, at a point, the president, which you rightly remember, that he was even going to engage the services of Anas. If it has not been discussed, how come he said that? I hope you understand what I'm saying. If it was not a worry to the FA, the president wouldn't have said that he was going to engage the services of Anas. Because he then realized that it has gotten to a point where something must be done. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So we were putting measures. Because if you look at FIFA, in fact, the last days, we had engaged FIFA. FIFA were going to send some officers down to help us to try and combat this, because especially with the influence of some of these betting companies and some of the things that we were hearing, definitely the FA was a bit worried. Not a bit, we were very worried, and we were ready to confront the situation. So I wouldn't want to say that I was surprised. No, because the series of allegations had come up several times. So it means that definitely the risk was out there and the road was out there, and how to confront it and to combat it was the way forward.
I'm speaking to Mr. George Afriyie, and when we return, we have a normalization committee. But I also have an important question for Mr. Afriyie. I guess it's a question that is on the minds of a lot of people as well. But you need to keep watching Face to Face if you want to hear that next question.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issues, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 10 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues of the week.
So greed is not a matter because nobody enjoyed the benefits. Mm-hmm. They just reinvested. It was very sophisticated, and that's why these people are considered victims, because it takes a very sophisticated operation to swindle people out of money, to let them reinvest, and then to wait for the 5th year and make sure you hit those $1 million, $5 million, $6 million targets.
It's The Biggest You, live on City TV.
For all the news, analysis, projections, and policies that affect your business, curated and delivered in a simple and timely format. Watch Business Dashboard, your most comprehensive source of business news, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on City TV. Business Dashboard on City TV is sponsored by ADB Bank, truly a Greek and more. Regular news checks as they unfold. 2020 news, all day, all the time. Politics, sports, entertainment, business, and more. 2020 news. We bring you the world in 20 minutes.
Welcome back to Face, and we are in the final hurdle of the show. Mr. Afriyie, what do you make of the normalization committee?
Honestly, I had refused to comment about the normalization committee for a very simple reason. I know Dr. Kofi Amwa very well. He's a very well intelligent man, very intelligent business tycoon. I've known him for some years now.
Okay.
I know the two ladies on the committee. I know Lawyer Duadontin very well. I happened to work with Madam Lucy Quest when I was then the chairman of the NJC. She has the passion, the drive, serious corporate woman. And no doubt about her capabilities. No doubt about Dr. Kofi Amwa's capabilities. No doubt about Nadu Foley, excellent lawyer. Dr. Duadontik, same. So if these fine personalities are put together, who am I?
So you think FIFA put a strong team
personally,
together?
I don't have a problem. Okay. One need to ask. Almost all the people who work into football, none of them had football as their business or as their course or before they work into football. But then over the period, they've been able to come up as one of the best. A typical example was even Mr. Nyantakyi. How deep was he when he came into football? But a few years he spent at Garka, people realized that he has something good, and he was able to vote it into power to become the FA president. So personally, if you put these fine personalities together, I don't have anything against them.
Okay.
Now, you don't comment when you don't have deep information about the workings of the group.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have deep knowledge of how they have structured the day-to-day running. And so it will be difficult for me to comment. Okay. Now, first of all, let's look at the task given them. What were their mandate? What specific mandate was given to them? They were to run day-to-day administration, or they were to run football in this country. Are they doing? Personally, if you ask me, the answer is yes. Because one, when you talk of the administration of football in this country, it encompasses a lot of things. One, from the youth football to the day-to-day people requesting for letters and all that. Don't forget there's a secretariat sitting down there running. Staffs have specific roles to play. We have deputy general secretaries, acting general secretary and all that, accountants, secretaries and all that. All of them have their specific defined roles as administrators at the FA block. So the first question you have to ask whether the people are overseeing the running of the administrative setup of the FA. The answer is yes. Second, we have our national team's activities. Right from the Black Queens, the Maidens, the Black Princesses, the Starlets, the Satellite, the Black Stars, all the competitions put together. Are they taking part in all the FIFA CAF organized competitions? The answer is yes. So it means that, yes, they are doing it. Yeah. The other bit, which also forms about 50% of administration in football, is club football. Because without the clubs, the association doesn't exist. You see, that is the distinction people must make. Clubs are owners of the players. We engage them, sign them, feed them, train them, before anybody requests for the services of the player. So if it is right that players who were trained by Kotoko, by Dreams, by Liberty, by Hearts, can take part in a national team activity, how can that same club, if it's in a financial position to go to Africa, cannot take part? It is not always the case that taking part in an African competition is for the benefit of just the money. Kotoko, for instance, is a big brand. It's a big. How do you build the brand? How do you project the brand? How do you make the brand more attractive? If you are only to sit in Ghana and play friendly matches with us 3 times in a year, is that how you want to build Kumasi Asante Kotoko? Or you call a certain Ochiman Planners to play a friendly match? Trust me, you rather gain even after normalization if a certain Kotoko is projected in Africa.
Now, part of their mandate also is to organize elections. And prior to the circumstances that led to the normalization committee coming in, at your birthday, you said you were going to contest for the presidency of the Football Association if the time came. Post that, we've had number 12 and you going underground. You changed your mind?
Godfred, let me be very honest with you. I will be disappointing a lot of football faithfuls if I decide not to contest the position of the GFA president.
So you are contesting?
I want to state here now and clear that if the nomination is open tomorrow, George Afriyie will pick the form, get the endorsement, and contest the GFA election.
You are that confident?
Very, very confident. I have said that last year, and I want to repeat on your show.
So you've not changed your mind? George Afriyie is in the race?
Because you see, Godfred, let me add this.
Okay.
For me, I'm a team player. I would have been the best man to walk out of a decision or a meeting of some of my old colleagues. But in the midst of all the difficulties, I did not abandon the team.
So you are a team player, you have moved beyond these things.
I've moved beyond that.
But you spoke about if integrity checks and whatnot. You are in court.
Yes. Yes.
You are fighting that.
Because Godfred,
give us an update.
What is the issue? The issue is that I was invited for the Commission of Inquiry to say how much I got when I went to Japan. They didn't say you've gone to embezzle any money. They said how much you got. And I wrote to the commission to say that I did not go there as a member of the Black Star, because I was not a Black Star, I was just an emergency committee member. So I didn't go on a ticket of the Black Star management as a Black Star management committee member, but I went there as an executive committee member. And whatever was paid me was not government funds. And so therefore, I'm not ready to disclose.
So you are fighting to clear your name.
Of course.
Okay. Now, time is almost up. You've given us almost 1 hour of your time, but I just want to ask you one final question on FIFA funding. The FIFA Forward Fund. We see a lot of countries do so much with it. We've not been able to access ours. If you had opportunity to access that fund, what would you do with it?
Honestly, I'll do more with infrastructure. You see, the beautiful game can be watched all over the world. I believe strongly, and I have said it several times, that I don't believe that the quality of football in South Africa is better than the Ghana football. It is only because it is packaged well and is branded very well. On field of play, because we've had a chance for our clubs to participate in different competitions, we've engaged them, we've played them. On the field of play, we have skillful players. We have players who are more talented than the South Africans. That's my belief. And that if we can have all the league centers in a standard form of a standard pitch with standard arrangement, Trust me, it will be beautiful to watch Ghana football.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. George Kwesi Afriyie, the man who used to be known as the Chief of Staff of Ghana Football. And he has confirmed on Face to Face that if the time does come, he will put his hat in there to run for the position of the Ghana Football Association president. My name is Godfred Akoto Boafo. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. Have a good day.